Alright, it looks like it's connecting on Facebook. Is it possible for you to have another tab open just to watch one of the networks, like for comments? I can monitor YouTube if you want to monitor like Facebook or Twitch. That would be great.
All right, I'll check it out.
Alright. So we should be going live on Facebook now, which will also go in the group. YouTube, we should already be good, and Twitch, we should be good. Yep. All right, 3, 2, 1, fake clap. Welcome to another edition of AfrOtaku Chapter Reactions. I'm Mr. Good Guy, aka MGG, and I'm joined here by my co-hosts who will introduce themselves, starting right now.
What up? What up? What up? I am Gramps.
All right, so jumping right into it, we're going straight for My Hero Academia Chapter 304. Do you remember the title? I do not.
No, I don't.
All
One
right,
second.
it
It is
doesn't
called
matter.
A Young Woman's Declaration.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense for the chapter. So,
Yeah.
Oraka basically, gave her declaration. I think for me, the only things I reacted to in this chapter was the key change in story narrative, where Deku went from like this is about me becoming the greatest hero to this is about all of us becoming the greatest heroes.
Hmm.
I thought that that was more key from what we might start seeing from the other characters than I initially thought when we're thinking about kind of Deku becoming the main character, then getting these avatar powers for him to kind of make that shift. I don't know what it means yet, but my hope is that it means that we get to see more of a spotlight from the other characters.
Yeah, same here because I know that it definitely it gets old when you're always seeing like one main character always doing basically carrying the whole team or whatever. I want to see
100%.
niggas on some fuck on some high school sports type of shit where you don't just have one student doing all of the sumo matches or one student basically carrying the whole team for the volleyball team or one person doing all of the shots or blocks and all of that stuff for the basketball team. I want to see stuff where everybody's working together to actually knock this out.
Right.
So if they can pull that off right without just saying, all right, Deku, go out there and be great, then
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
That's exactly how I feel, and my only thing is just I'm of the power ups we saw so far, I'm not getting that yet. So I'm hoping that we get to that part where that makes more sense. Um, but yeah, right now it's still like I'm glad he made that shift. I'm glad we're gonna start probably focusing on more people than just Deku because while this arc, Dark Deku arc, was interesting, um, I think it could get old if, especially if they were gonna go down the route of having him fight every single one of the like people chasing him.
Yeah,
Um, I think that could have gotten old after a while, especially if the powers like are supposed to be shitty. So,
exactly.
um, yeah, I'm interested to see where they take this. But this chapter was pretty feels heavy, I guess.
Yeah, so here's my thing that I would like to see basically. So you know how you can basically think of Deku's powers as like a weak version of some of his other classmates' powers or whatever. So I'll
Sure.
be interested in seeing him. Let's say for example, if he was out here trying to fight like extremely strong people or whatever, and he was trying to do the imitation version of other people's powers or whatever, and he's not able to do it as well as them, and they jump in and be like, hey, let me show you, show you how you should be doing this or whatever, just because I've
Right.
had so many years of practice, and then they come and do one of his little powers or whatever. Essentially, kind of like if he was able to multiply himself by like however many people have his power. What does he have, like 8 powers or whatever inside of him? But instead
Yeah.
of him actually utilizing all of those different powers at the same time, he had other people doing their stronger versions of those extra powers to be able to do like different combination shit on different enemies. That's
Yeah.
what I would be much more satisfied with.
I agree with that. Like, and I do like that they kind of seasoned it a little bit. Like Tape Homie helped him with the Black Whip power.
Hmm. Or
So
like I said with
it's
the floating.
yeah. So it's like we. It's there. I totally agree that they could go down that route. It's just a matter of whether or not they're gonna do it. I did like Players Five's old theory that I wish they would do was like that he saw in the movie where he had the ability to like give like Bakugo his quirk for like a second. I would like to see something like that. Because I think it would just take them to the next level. But we'll see. Maybe the author will have them find a way to get to the next level without a power boost from Deku. I just the next generations are supposed to be stronger, and I'm still not getting that from anybody that's not Deku. If that makes sense, like I see the potential in a lot of these characters, but because we haven't spent much time with them since like what the exam arc, and maybe a little bit of this whole like battle versus Tomura, I haven't really seen their powers like go in the direction that I'm trying to. Like Uraraka has a very potent power, like the ability to control gravity can go crazy, and
Yes,
we
it
already
can.
saw what Toga was able to do with it. But I'm still not getting that from Uraraka yet, and
Well,
I
I'm gonna
think
just tell you
Uraraka
right
should
now.
surpass that.
I'm gonna just tell you right now. You ain't gonna see a damn thing from Invisible Girl, and I don't mean that with a
Well,
pun. I don't mean
but
that
I
with
think
a pun.
yeah, I agree that we might not see anything from her, but I guess if they were investing in her power, there are potential like huge huge areas they can go with somebody that has invisibility powers because we don't know what the core of it is. At least I don't know what the core of it is. Maybe it's been explained, but if she's like able to reflect light or do stuff like that to camouflage herself, and she can apply that to like there's ways to
Yeah,
stretch that power so it could be crazy. But like you said, I don't think they're just. I just think the reason why we're not going to see that is because they don't care about Invisible Girl that much.
yeah.
Like,
If
bring her
honestly this
back on.
whole time she's been wearing clothes, yo, that means that she's probably been putting stuff on, and then it turns invisible. So that if that's if that's the case, then yeah, she can
Yeah.
definitely take that to a higher effect or whatever, where you're just
Right.
making the whole area invisible. And let's say, for example, you had everybody else have some type of special glasses or something where they can actually see all the objects, where the enemies are just running into buildings, cars, and all this other crap. Then you
Hmm.
can be able to try to use the environment to your advantage in that case, as if you're
Yeah.
fighting against somebody that's blind.
Yeah. No. It definitely has like everyone's ability. You can stretch it to a degree of like at least importance, or you could see how it could be broken. Like even characters like Coda, where it's just like he talks to animals. Like you can see how that's been broken because we know of heroes who have like animalistic powers or relationships to animals, and how like crazy that's getting. Like he could be like Beast Boy in a way without actually having to transform into animals. But like shit, if you could talk to tigers and
Oh,
shit,
I
you
thought
know.
you were gonna bring it over to Naruto being able to control bugs and shit,
Oh, I mean, there's that too,
as
but
if, as
like,
if he
didn't
could
he
do
have that
that.
whole fear he had to get over and shit? But I guess he got over it because he was scared of bugs for like a period of time. I thought that was like a whole arc.
Hey man,
So
that's simply a opportunity for a power up, man. That's all that
that's
is.
true. I mean, it like the potential is there. We've talked about it. It's just like I need them to start building it now. And I hope that's what this statement from Deku means is that we're going to start seeing them show up more because, like I said, I was still a little bit shocked that we had this time skip and these motherfuckers were sitting around in UA. Like, I'm like, you guys didn't go out and help anything. Like, I'm like, Monoma who can steal powers. We got so many powerhouses. And after that exam, that should have been proof enough that these niggas were at least ready to do some search and rescue. You know what I'm saying? You pair them up with the pro hero, you're good. And apparently, these heroes have these giant organizations. I feel like you could pair some of these students up, pro hero, have some search and rescue, some cleanup missions. At the very least, they could be doing something. But they were just sitting around in UA. Wow,
Yeah,
to
so
me.
I think it's because they wanted to have somebody to stay back to protect all of the civilians that are inside of that location. Because if you
Hmm.
just let all of the students go, who are you going to have there? Because I'm guessing they're thinking, okay, we'd rather have the pro heroes out there in the dirt,
Yeah,
doing all of the work because they actually have dealt with situations similar to this type of destruction potentially. Whereas
yeah,
these students, they're still being groomed or whatever. Whereas if somebody came into our facility, they can at least at the very least throw hands while we start shipping all of these sentences out in this complex ass underground tunnel that we have.
right. Yeah, and my only counter to that though is that I feel like they could have still optimized that in a plan. Like you could still put like a shittier hero as the like UA protector with some UA students and still have like niggas like Bakugo or Shoto be out here. Like it doesn't make they're powerhouses and they could definitely protect UA, but I feel like there's definitely a way to finesse it where they don't need to be there. Like I feel like they're more effective not protecting UA. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I don't see why they sitting around, but it is what it is.
yeah. What can you do?
Right? How
Especially,
did you?
especially that nigga, Ida. That nigga could just be running around just grabbing people.
All right. It doesn't make sense the more I think about it, but it is what it is. How did you feel about the feels?
I
Any important
mean,
moments or call outs, or did you care at all about it?
I ain't gonna say I felt any type of way. I would say it makes sense,
Yeah.
with what they were going with or whatever. I would say, if I was the type of person that fell for this type of stuff, yeah, I'd be in my feels or whatever. But it didn't exactly didn't exactly hit me hard or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't care much for it either. I think I would have. I'm glad that Uraraka said what we discussed this like last time with Player Five, but like the fact that like Deku's still a kid. Like I get that you guys don't want him to be here, but at the end of the day, he's also still a fucking kid. And
Exactly.
I appreciate that she called that out and made them aware of that. The whole end part with the chick that he saved and little boy that she saved coming to like console him, I thought was a little weird or off because I don't know if they wanted to run to him before, but it just seemed like now that everyone kind of turned coat from the speech, it was like, oh, here you guys come out the woodwork to like hug him. And I was also surprised that his mom wasn't
I
in
was
that.
just about to say that his mama
Yeah,
just sitting in the background crying.
right, because she was fighting through people to see that nigga, and she probably ain't seen that nigga in the longest.
Hmm.
And he smells like shit, looks beat up. Like as a mother, I would expect her to be at the forefront of that
She definitely should have been
running.
on. She definitely should have been on some strong shit, throwing people
Yeah,
out of the way to get to her child.
yeah. I figure we're probably gonna get that moment in the next chapter, which to me is gonna be a little disappointing because I get the feels, I get we gotta build this, but this particular set of feels, I don't feel like needs multiple chapters. Like I felt like we could have done Uraka's speech. We could have had the mom have her little say with Deku, and then we could kind of get back to like what we're gonna do next. But I feel like we might spend another chapter or two on this Deku staying in UA, whatever the fuck feelings is going on stuff. And I'm more of a the only part I've liked about this feelings part was the Bakugo thing. That I appreciated. Bakugo turning around and apologizing for what he did, but everything else has kind of come after that. I'm just like, let's get back to like what the plan is now. Like we don't know where Tomura is, we don't know where All for One is. Like, what are we actually gonna do about solving this problem now that the
Hmm.
team's back together? But we'll see.
Now, I would love it if right now, while they're having this whole ass lovey-dovey moment, if some crazy ass villain just came out and just started wrecking shit.
That would be a great All for One appearance right there in this moment, because then it kind of destroys the whole like let him stay here argument that they were making. Because it was like, you see, nigga, you pretty much got us killed.
I mean,
But
but the issue is everybody is literally out in the open. Like y'all supposed to be inside of the fucking buildings where it's all safe, but
right,
y'all want to come out here talking that shit, and now you just put yourself in danger. So it's like,
uh,
okay, I'm gonna take this opportunity and swipe everybody out.
right, yeah. I don't know, bro. This chapter to me was like a man. I know we don't rate these, but it was pretty like just get through it. I'm waiting for them to build the hype back up, action wise or story wise. I was over it, and I would have liked more of like at the very least if we're gonna make like Uraraka go up and do all this. I felt like we need to build their whole relationship thing too, and I felt like we just didn't do that. And I felt like this was the prime opportunity where you force us to care about them to like do it in some way. You know, whether it's Deku realizing he has some feelings for her or Uraraka just blatantly saying it, I felt like it was a missed opportunity to not build that because I'm not gonna care
Hmm.
later on at all.
What you think about when they brought in that nigga Endeavor when they were talking about when heroes are hurting dot dot
I
dot.
was, I was like, why do we keep showing this nigga's face? And how many outfit changes is he gonna make, bro? Like I was like, every time they be showing like clips of Endeavor, he be in a new fit, and it's like, why aren't you supposed to be out heroing? Because you always be acting like when they came up to him, he be acting like, oh, it's so dangerous. I'm out here heroing like 24/7, nigga. But every time they showing him, he in some casual fit in his office chilling. So
This nigga does look like he's trying to be like super low key, like nobody's gonna recognize his
I'm
ass.
like, nigga, we know the scar, bro. We see that big ass scar, nigga. We know it's you. Like,
Right? That's
tripping.
crazy. He just trying to be there with his son, man.
I guess.
He trying to be a good dad. You see him right behind Todoroki, man.
All right. Anyways. Anything else on my
That
head?
is fucked up. We were just talking about how all of the pro heroes are out there, doing work, but these niggas over here just chilling,
Right.
watching all of this go down.
Exactly. Oh, are you guys gonna let him in? I'm like, bro, you guys are acting like the world is in utter chaos, and then you flip to Endeavor in a fucking like Sunday hat, like chill. I don't know, like just chilling. I'm like,
Hey man,
what?
he's made out of fire, so he's trying to avoid the rain. Okay,
Yeah.
that's his
And
weakness.
he's still a trash #1 hero because that speech that Rock is giving should have been his if he was really the #1. Like All Might would have been the kind of nigga that could give that speech, like to give the speech Rocket gave, and niggas be like, all right, cool, that makes sense. Endeavor's just sitting there like, oh, can't do that.
My nigga, you think anybody's gonna listen to him after all that bullshit that?
No, they're
that
not. I 100% agree with you. Nobody will listen to him, but at the end of the day, like, it just goes to show that Endeavor's purpose of being #1 wasn't about being a symbol. It was just about beating All Might.
Yeah, that
Which
is
I
true.
think is the sad part. It's like once he became #1, you just saw how little of a symbol he was outside of maybe like the Nomu fight where he lost and he did a little plus ultra thing. Maybe people felt some stuff from him there. But how he's shown up since then has been very like not #1-esque. It's just like he might be and I'm gonna say arguably very strong, arguably the strongest hero right now without All Might being around, but that's it. As far as what the other aspects of what being a #1 hero represents, popularity, influence, all that stuff, he might just have that financially, but not not vocally or whatever,
The nigga,
emotionally.
the nigga definitely has only 5 followers on Instagram. That's for sure.
Right. No, he might have more than that. He just doesn't have like emotional influence. Like nobody's checking for what Endeavor has to say on shit the way they were checking for what All Might was making people believe shit that they probably wouldn't normally believe because he was All Might. Like he was bringing out the good in people where normally they might not have had that come out. But Endeavor does not have that ability at all. I don't think he can talk in any way to bring out the good side of a person. Like if even if all that other shit didn't happen, right? Like all the fucked up shit that he didn't happen, and he stood up there and tried to give the same speech Rocket did, it would not hit the same. That's what I'm trying to say.
I got you. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Anything else on My Hero?
Nah.
Yep. Pretty dry chapter. Before we jump into One Piece and Dr. Stone, I'll just put some light respect on Black Clover. All that really happened in this chapter was like Noct was a dick, and we found out Mimosa is like god tier with the healing spells. So overall, like, I mean, I'm glad they put some respect on Mimosa, but clearly this is just this little slow transition to the next thing. And my boy Yuno is coming with another power up, so I'm hyped for that. Other than that, it was these two, My Hero and Black Clover, were actually the drier chapters this week, which I'm pretty surprised about because they're usually been more interesting. I'll say that more from the Black Clover side than the My Hero side. But that's it for Black Clover. Jump into One Piece, chapter 1024. I don't remember the title, but there is a lot of seasoning going on in this chapter. Those first like 5 or 6 pages of Marco talking some crazy seasoning shit, the Zoro potential lineage, relationship seasoning shit, the Sanji potentially being a cyborg, seasoning shit, like all of that in the beginning. I was kind of hot that they didn't just let that ride. Like this is always style that kind of pisses me off is where he'll like season some interest. He'll brace some really big story questions or some great story points that make for like really great theory crafting. But he'll just do it in part of a chapter instead of like dedicating the chapter to like just saying what the fuck you have to say. He'll just like be like, hey, here's some shit that you're probably interested in. Now let's shift to a totally different section of the world and focus on these niggas. And I wasn't mad. Well, I was mad, but I wasn't as mad because I didn't like hate Dog and Cat Buddy, and I'm happy to see them go Sulong form, even though I don't like the way their Sulong form looks. And obviously, I like the way they closed the chapter with like Full Dragon Momo. I just thought that looked dope. And I'm interested to see what his human form looks like if they're going to show that. Because I would just like to see. I like time skip. People with time skip powers are aging up people in the story. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Hitman Reborn?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Well, for the people out there that watch Hitman Reborn, there's a character out there named Lambo. And he basically he has this bazooka that ages him 10 years. So he'll use that as an ability to fight. So like his 10-year self is like this cold ass motherfucker with lightning powers. So and he's a baby in the show. That's just kind of like the theme of the show. So he's this assassin. So he'll basically be like scared, jump into this bazooka, get aged up 10 years, drop this nigga, and then one time he had difficulty dropping that nigga. So he pulled out another bazooka and aged himself up another 10 years. So like his 20-year self came out, and that nigga was ice cold. When I talk about bodying motherfuckers, he was out here bodying people. So whenever I see people with that ability, it just gets me hyped because of Hitman Reborn. So I thought it was cool to see aged up Momo, at least in the dragon form. I'm ready to see like also what he looks like as an adult, and maybe if he even chooses to just stay that age, because technically he is that age, but maybe not mentally, but technically he's that age. Like that time has passed. So.
I mean, I'm gonna just say it like this, man. If you get a 14-year-old chick and somehow aged her instantly 20 years older,
yeah,
are you still a pedo if you date her?
I think there's an argument to be made there because mentally she's 14. So exactly. Me personally, no, right? But I think from like the why I'm thinking of him choosing to be aged up like that is because if they win this, it's just a better appearance for the world if they don't give it to his sister. But as far as like leadership goes, if they don't give it to like Kaido's whatever daughter or his sister, I feel like if they're still going with the whole Momo's going to be the leader of Wano after this is over thing, I just feel like the aged up version of him sells a better idea to the country than like a 14-year-old boy running Wano, right? Like I just think
an 8-year-old boy.
Oh my bad, 8-year-old boy running Wano. Like it just the optics just don't look right. You feel me? So I just felt like if they see that 20 or 8-year-old version, even though he might still have the same set of advisors like Kinemon supporting him, and he still has that mindset, it just looks better from the world perspective of like, oh, they have a reputable leader. To me, I would like, if I was in the world powers type of thing, Wano opened his borders, Kaido is gone, and I see that an 8-year-old boy is running things, like I'm attacking that country immediately. You know what I mean? Like, no, think about it. Like, you would attack that country. The only way that's going to stop is if, like, Luffy makes a statement. Like, if they pull a Whitebeard, where Whitebeard would go to countries and just be like, I own this shit, so don't fuck with it. Like, that's the only way I can see the protection. But other than that, the biggest, scariest power, Kaido, is out of the picture. Wano has all these resources and, like, untapped stuff that nobody knows about. Hell yeah, niggas are immediately attacking that motherfucker if an 8-year-old boy is running the show.
Bro, you sleeping on Yamato. You forgot that she's still in that bitch and she swore.
That's why I said if they don't give it to her though, like she would still have to be the face in some way. You gotta have somebody
why she gotta be the face? Why can't she just be the bodyguard and shit?
But you have to know that she's there. You know what I mean? To not get attacked. That's what I'm saying. Like they have to publicize to the world that like we get that an 8-year-old boy is running the show, but like these niggas are supporting the 8-year-old boy. So like this is why you're not gonna attack us. You get what I'm saying? Like if they just said, hey, and then they never talk about Yamato being there, like that's not publicized to the world, or like Luffy protecting it, they're getting attacked immediately. Whether they then after they attack and find out like, oh, Yamato's running the show, shit might change. But I just can't see how a nigga wouldn't attack immediately if they were like, all these untapped resources and a fucking 7-year-old boy is running the show. Like, no.
I mean, but you gotta think about it like this: when somebody hears that a Yonko, because you already know, if after this arc, let's say if Luffy does actually win this shit, Luffy is definitely going to be one of the 4 Yonko. We can agree on that, right?
By then, yeah, I could see them selling it that way.
Exactly. And if he was one of the 4 Yonko, and if a Yonko said, "Yo, this is my territory, don't
That's
touch
what I'm
it,"
saying.
you ain't touching it. And
Yeah, I said that earlier.
And just like where the fishermen live, I can't remember the name of it. Fishman Island or whatever. And Luffy said, "Yo, this is my territory," and he told Big Mom, "Don't be touching my shit." If he basically simply publicizes that, niggas ain't gonna fuck with it.
Yeah, that's all.
Luffy doesn't. Oh, I thought you were basically saying Luffy had to like kind of be there as well, saying like,
no,
yeah,
he doesn't have to be there. I was just saying if he said that, then that covers it. Then it doesn't matter who the fuck's leading it, because it's just like they just assume Luffy's the one leading it. If you touch it, Luffy's gonna show up and body you. My thing was just if none of that, like let's say we're in a world where that didn't happen, I think that they would immediately attack Wano. And I like the optics of, you know, an older person or older looking person leading Wano versus an 8-year-old boy being like the king. I just haven't, in my One Piece experience, I haven't seen it. So it seems odd in the concept of the world that there would be an 8-year-old boy leading the shit. And the other problem I have is like I don't know if you come across this theory, but the Momo story is based off an old Japanese folktale.
like a little boy with a monkey, a bird, and
exactly
some other type of animal.
Yeah, so in the story, I believe that the Momo is the person who's supposed to defeat Kaido. So if it's sold that way to the world, it's still gonna be odd that it's an 8-year-old boy. You know what I mean? So I feel like it would still make people want to attack this movie because they're like, yeah, he beat him, but that nigga's 8. You know? I just think it would be weird, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Definitely.
To me, that was like a smaller piece of the story compared to like all the other shit in the beginning with Zoro and Sanji, and then we already know what's happening in that middle piece with like Cat Homie is about to fold Candy Man. Like it's a wrap. We know what's going on there.
Call the nigga Candy Man.
That's what I don't know what else to call him. Like I be forgetting his name. So Candy Homie's about to get folded, and I think Jack's about to get folded. So those parts we already know kind of how that's gonna play out. So I don't consider that big. I think the big part there was just seeing their Sulong form, and then it only just to me it made me think. I obviously know the moon wasn't there back when they fought them on Zoe, but it just like reminded me that like, oh shit, if this popped off on Zoe, like if the Sulong form shit happened while they were fighting Jack on Zoe, like that nigga wouldn't have left the island. Like I mean they still beat him, but he definitely would have got like it's done. They would have.
Yeah, it makes sense because I think they were basically even with that nigga without Sulong. So with Sulong.
And then you got to think that it's not just them two that was fighting him. Like they had a whole country of minks as well. So like now minks all got like the few key minks we've already seen get powered up with Sulong. Pedro was alive back then, so he's also powered up with Sulong. And then those little, because all he had was like some gifters. He didn't even have any notable niggas. He had some basic ass niggas on Zoe. They all would have got bodied. Like they would not have been prepared for that L at all, in my opinion.
That is very true.
In my opinion, but yeah, so this giant shit, this weird thing about King that was brought up in the last chapter.
I was definitely going to ask if you didn't give a damn about the about this nigga King, because they're bringing out bit by bit a little bit of lore on this nigga.
Yeah.
Over here controlling fire. Over here they're called Lunarians. They used to live either
Yeah.
on top of the red line or usually live above it.
To
Niggas are
me,
saying that they actually used to live on another moon because
of course.
lunarian has a lunar word.
That immediately dragged me to NL. Like as soon as I heard Queen brought up Lunarians, I said, "Oh, okay, so NL is meeting people wherever the fuck he went." Like there's some niggas, or he's learning about that history in some way. But when she said that, I immediately went to NL. Yeah.
You think that nigga in there gonna come back doing electricity and fire? That shit would be
Ooh.
dope.
Actually, seems a little far fetched for him. He was already too broken. To come back and do both of those, it just doesn't seem like One Piece style. That nigga crazy, but I don't know. That seemed a little bit like wow,
Hey,
too
I
much.
mean, but the thing is, if that nigga did come back though, who is he supposed to fight if he were to fight somebody?
I think he's coming back to help in the war in a way where it's not directly helping Luffy. Like I don't think he's gonna come as I'm an actual ally, but whatever he does will help.
I don't
Whether
see
it's added
anybody.
context.
I don't see anybody who's below a admiral level taking that nigga out though. There's my
But
thing.
I think people are growing though, so I wouldn't sleep. And we still have admirals that like we haven't got to like. We still didn't get Green Bull, right? Like I don't think we've seen much from Green Bull yet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
Um,
don't see anybody who's below admiral taking him out.
Taking him out, no, but giving him a fight, maybe, because we don't know who's there in that little vice captain realm, wherever the fuck Smoker's area is. There are some niggas that might pull out some potential you don't know about.
The
Like I
top
said,
nigga
I don't
out
think
of
they
them
taking
is gonna
him
be
out.
Kobe.
Yeah, they not taking him out. I agree with you on that. But giving that nigga a run for his money, buying time, you never know.
You
They
think
might be out
hockey?
there.
Do you think hockey would be able to defend you against his lightning? Then
You said what?
do you think
Say one more
hockey can defend you against his lightning? Then in that case,
Yeah, I would think so if it's strong enough. Why not?
okay. Oh
But
no,
my-
it just feels like lightning is like different because that shit gets into your body and everything, and then it just cooks you from the inside.
See, but then I would argue the same thing for like ice and light and like all the animals, minus the magma. But even magma to a degree, you could be like, why is that not like automatically destroying everybody they run into? You get me? Like most Logias have that kind of like whatever. It's just because we spent so much time highlighting NL's brokenness before we knew of hockey's existence. But I feel like if NL fought Kaido, that nigga's not folding automatically to that. If anything, Kaido's might NL back then. I don't know NL now. NL back then, Kaido now. I think Kaido's winning.
yeah, of
disagree?
course. I mean, the niggas that are Yonko, they're built differently. Like
Yeah.
these niggas ain't got to work for this shit. Like I don't think that nigga NL would have been able to touch Big Mom even when she was a kid, just because she was
Right.
built differently.
No, I think them shocks would have worked on her. NL and then versus Big Mom as a child. Yeah, I think he would be able to get her something.
Nigga, you better go back and watch what she was doing to them giants.
I feel you, but NL's power works like you said. It's a body thing more than a whatever. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to fight her directly. Like if anybody would like combat shit, fought Baby Big Mom, they have a run for their money. But a nigga that's shocking you, I don't know how she's getting around that. Like her iron body, I don't think it makes her like I don't know, like how Luffy was invincible to his shit. I think her ass still getting shocked, bro. So we gonna see about that. But like, yeah, I think that's a very interesting conversation to see how NL will play in this final fight. But it just brings up another thought to me, which is just that I think we're gonna end up seeing more powers coming out of the Marines. Like they need to be built out more. Like we're already seeing these secret organizations, but I think we're gonna start seeing their power tier built out a lot more because it's not flushed out enough as is to make sense for what we're probably gonna see in that final war. There's just way too many people that are technically against the Marines. They may not be all on Luffy's side, but they're definitely against the Marines. That I'm just like, we're gonna need to see way more powers that can match a Kanu or coming close to what they got going on, and that may be those niggas in the world government. They may be the ones, but there's just some. They need to build that out more because the gaps are crazy right now. It's just like Akainu in his class, so Aokiji, who's probably not going to fight for the Marines in the end of the war. Kizaru, who's probably will. The new admirals they hired. Kobe, Garp, Smoker probably, but I also feel like Smoker might end up switching teams. And then that's it. Like, you can argue maybe Momonga, because that's the only other vice captain I know whose name is the nigga with the sword that had like the mohawk and a weird mustache. He might pop out with some shit we ain't seen before. CP0, that's it.
Yeah.
They don't have much. If you're thinking about fighting what Luffy's crew is about to become a big force, Blackbeard, the Revolutionary Army, just those three alone. Yeah, just those three powers alone, and there's still more, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening there.
I mean, Luffy also has, that fleet of niggas that have his back, so he got numbers as well.
But those I all kind of consider as like the way I saw the Whitebeard War go down, like niggas that maybe one or two are of note, but they could probably tangle with a vice admiral at best, and then that's it. Like Cavendish and shit, like that nigga's a vice admiral fight. That's about it. I'm not seeing them go. If I see Cavendish go against a Green Bull, I'm be like, damn, Marines, y'all motherfuckers are trash. Bartholomew against a Green Bull, I would be shocked.
Don't stretch that far, nigga.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'd be shocked. That's a reach.
He might be able to get a slap in before he gets it. He might be able to get a slap in before he gets slapped or whatever. But that's at best.
And then you got powers like Marco and stuff that I don't even know how they're participating. Because to me, it seemed like Marco was like, I'm helping, but they all seem to be taking like a... I wouldn't even say... I think Silvers might have even been too involved. They're like taking this stance of like, I'm going to like they're kind of like guiding them to growth in a way, if that makes sense. It's like they're a baby and they're teaching them like how to walk, I guess. Like, Marco is like kind of like making the way, like, oh, I'll help you with this because you haven't learned this part yet. But after I've helped you with that, like I'm hands off. You figure it out. Like what he's doing with the Zoro Sanji thing. I think he could have easily probably still had that fight with them, but he was like, okay, I feel that you guys are ready to learn what you need to learn from this fight, so I'm gonna back off and let you guys handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I appreciated. I thought that was dope. I just don't see how. I'm interested to see how people like him are going to play in that final war. Like how involved they're going to be, or they may not be involved at all. They may just take a step back.
I don't see Marco doing shit in the final war.
Interesting.
I think the nigga's just gonna be chilling. He gonna be like, I'm retired, bro. I ain't got nothing to do with this.
That's fair. That's fair. There seems to be like, I don't know, bro. It's weird to me the way this story is set up with the amount of people that kind of know a lot of things but aren't sharing it. Like Marco kind of alluded to that with that flashback in this chapter of, all right, Whitebeard knew about some shit and he kind of told me about it, but like I'm gonna go to Silver's approach and just like shut the fuck up. Shank, same thing. Made it. Pretty much knows how this whole thing plays out. Probably knows a decent amount of history. Very silent about it.
He knows the whole storyline, bro.
Right. Silver, same thing. Silver's knows how it's all supposed to play out. That nigga's just like, hey,
it is what it
I'll let you figure it out. Yeah, I'm just gonna let y'all figure it out. So I don't know.
I'm gonna throw in my little seasonings or whatever, and then I'm gonna back out.
Right.
That's crazy.
So I don't know, but I'm happy about this Zoro Sanji thing. It's giving me strong CP9 Sabondi vibes of like we might see some crazy power ups coming through on this.
Yeah, I definitely at the very least wanted to ask you how you feeling about Sanji, because I know for the last probably 1 or 2 years or whatever, you've been like, oh, that nigga Sanji, man, I give up on him. I give up on him. I'm seeing something, man. I'm seeing some opportunity.
I don't think I'm ever going to become fully invested. I'm always going to keep one eye open. I'm interested in what he said about the suit making him feel different, and then this cyborg thing being brought up. I'm very, very interested if Oda's going to actually say this nigga is part cyborg, which to me is going to be crazy, but it's going to make me feel better about Frankie as a character, because I always felt like that, and Queen has kind of dispelled it now too. But I always felt like this cyborg thing was like holding them back in a way from like hockey and power development. But I appreciate that like people like Queen have kind of shown like, oh no, it doesn't matter. Like you can still use hockey. And I've always wanted to see Frankie kind of come back up to where I felt like he was when they first met him, where he was kind of like rivaling these niggas. Right now he's still kind of jokey. I'm glad that him, Robin, and Brooke have shown us like, I don't give a fuck that y'all ain't seen us for hella chapters. We still not niggas to play with. I like that we got that, but I need more. I'm not seeing it yet. So Sanji, I'm excited about what this may mean if he is part cyborg, and maybe it has some relation to Vegapunk. Who the fuck knows? Because didn't Judge have some type of relationship with that nigga?
Yeah, Judge simply used to work with him. He used to work with Vegapunk and this nigga Queen back in the day.
Oh yeah, so it's quite possible. It's quite possible that Sanji might be a special version of this shit, bro. He might be a special type of cyborg, bro.
So I wasn't gonna say cyborg. I was thinking because niggas be talking about the whole lineage factor or whatever, messing with your genes and all of that.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance that he might have like a bit of the Lunarian genes spliced into his cells or whatever, which is what actually enables him to be able to use fire, just like how King is. So
Yeah.
there might be some extra other shit that might be placed into his genes that might actually start activating now. That's gonna make him more powerful.
I like that theory. That's interesting.
But I do hope the nigga doesn't just turn invisible. I would be highly disappointed if all he does is turn invisible.
Yeah. I don't know. The other thing that's bringing me back to the Sanji Fanboy Club is the relationship to Power Rangers with him and his siblings. So for me, he just strikes me as that sixth Power Ranger, and you always know, anybody that's watched Power Rangers know the sixth Power Rangers always got some smoke in the back pocket. So that's my hope, is that this, I'm feeling weird, but not in a bad way, means that we're about to see something that we haven't seen before. Yeah. Only reason why I'm still disappointed is because this now leads me to believe that all the times before this, from the time skip till now, we have seen Sanji's max. Yeah. Where I felt like in the Zoro case, we did not. It was like until now that we finally seen like, oh, this like Zoro's max. This whole time where we were seeing Hell's Memories, where we were seeing him going up against his family, the little shit that we did. When we seen him struggle, I felt like we were seeing his max, and that disappoints me a bit because I'm like, now you're about to get another significant power up, but now I don't feel like you made that much of a power up post time skip in the way that Zoro did.
I mean, the biggest thing that pissed me off post time skip was when I saw that Doflamingo was basically treating that nigga like a rag doll. That's the biggest thing that killed me. I'm like, nigga, didn't you just have a time skip? Like, you over here still getting bitch made. So
like a motherfucking
that was my biggest thing. So I'm hoping at the very least now he'll be able to give somebody like Doflamingo a bit of go.
Yeah. I just don't know what it's going to be for him. For Zoro, I also don't know, because it's like we started with this fire and Ashura thing, but in Zoro's case, it seems like our focus is now more about his lineage / the swords that he has. And in Sanji's case, I really don't know where Oda's going with the fire. Like, it's cool that he's able to develop it, but now I'm like, okay, how is this fire going to marry with this new thing with the suit? Like, I don't see where their progression is going. Like, the same way. Well, I lie. Like, I think that's just part of One Piece, because it's the same thing with Luffy. I kind of didn't see Gear Forth going that way either when he pulled it out. It was hard to tell. So that's the good and bad thing. It sucks because I can't really predict where it's going to go, but if it ends up being executed well, it's going to be a really dope surprise. And I think going back to how I had called it in the beginning, they set it up exactly how I said very, very in the beginning, that I probably changed like 10 times, which is that Sanji and Zoro were going to fight King and Queen. I didn't think it after I was like reading the initial parts of the chapter because they seemed too weak, but we got to that point. Kaido is going to get taken out by Luffy, and Zoro and Sanji are taking out two top tier commanders, which to me is like like you said, it's gonna be undeniable now that they're Yonko level. If they don't give them the title, at the very least, they're Yonko level. And it sucks for the worst generation because I'm really not seeing how these niggas can compete.
Clear separation.
I've seen Kid and Killer. Like Killer's doing something, Kid's doing something, but it's still not. It's not what we got. There's not enough meat in these worst generation crews to like do what Luffy and them is doing. We only get like 1 to 2 key characters in each of these crews, and none of them are close to what I'm seeing in Luffy's powerhouses, bro. Like Law is there, and then we get Panda Homie and that dude that escaped from jail. Panda or Bear Homie and dude that escaped from jail. Yeah, Beppo and dude that escaped from jail. I couldn't even tell you what tier they fall on, but I can tell you for sure it's not close to Sanji and Zoro.
Exactly.
You feel me? At the very least, maybe they touching Robin, but I could see Robin dropping their ass too. So I don't know, man. Maybe a Sulong Beppo is something I need to wait on. Maybe that nigga is a monster, and I don't know. But I'm looking at with the same thing. We could argue that Beppo is not stronger than Dog Jiro and Cat Homie.
Oh, of course not. Hell no.
So at that point, that already puts a strong cap on where this nigga could actually be. So
because he wouldn't even be at Jack's level.
Yeah. So at best, he's at a Pedro, maybe, with a Sulong. So who the fuck knows, bro?
That's a
yeah. It's just an interesting chapter. Like, big ups to One Piece for getting me interested in what the fuck's gonna happen next. Oda, I'm begging you, bro. If you're gonna change directions to the Luffy shit or to this cat and dog shit, please wrap it up in the chapter, bro. Do not make me waste 2 chapters for the Zoro Sanji fight. Like, don't do that, bro. We just got you let us see these other motherfuckers through, and I was happy for that. We saw the Frankie fight all the way through. We didn't get too many jumps. We saw the Robin fight all the way through. We didn't get too many jumps. Brooke was involved to a degree. We didn't get too many jumps. Let that shit breathe, bro. Let that play out. Please do not interrupt this shit with a dump like this. Dog and cat shit, honestly, should have happened before the Frankie Robin fight, because this is the main crew we're talking about. Like, that shit should have been the extra fights that we saw before this. So I'm kind of mad that we even have it right now, but please do not distract this motherfucker with this fucking fight, bro. Or wrap it up.
Hold on. But what about Rizo, that nigga?
Fuck Fukuruku.
Oh yeah, I saw that shit. I was like, don't sleep on the ninjas when I seen it. I was like, all right, is Fat Homie coming back? I thought Fat Homie was gonna come back for that one.
I ain't trying to see this ninja shit either, man.
I'm telling you,
enough Naruto.
I'm like, bro, like the way he played, it was better. I at least preferred the organization with Don Flamingo's arc, where it was kind of like, okay, Luffy's running to fight Don Flamingo, and then we handled the fights on the way there. So we got our best fights towards the end. Like, it was like Sai and them had their fight, Cavendish had their fight. It was all on the way. But the way they're doing this, I'm mad that we're getting these 2 fights this late in the game. Like, to me, that could have been handled before. Like, I don't. As soon as you saw Zoro and Sanji on the screen, to me, Zoro, Sanji, or Luffy, and they're in their final stage of the fight, because, you know, with Luffy, it's always multiple stages. He's going to get his ass dropped first, but this is like the final stage, Luffy. Once we get to that, I don't need any interruptions, bro. Just let them shits breathe. That's what we're here for. We wasn't here for these extra niggas. I appreciate you. I know you got to do your character development. That's why niggas like you. But please don't interrupt the big 3. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. And then nigga Marco did say it's time for the stars to hit the stage.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm here for, bro. Do not waste my time with Dog Jiro and Cat Jiro. The time to put respect on them has passed. No, real talk.
Hell no.
We got the respect on them in Zoe. I was hyped for them in Zoe. You done already talked about Sulong and shit, and you made their Sulong forms not even look that fucking cool. So to me, pass, bro. Have them wrap this shit up quick. Hey, Sulong, you wasn't ready for it. Drop. Hey, Sulong, you wasn't ready for it, Jack. Drop. Move on. That's what I need, bro. Avenge Ashura Doji. Avenge all these other motherfuckers. Move on. 1 chapter. I just need One. If you make that shit last 2 chapters, bro, I'm be hot. And if you
He think it's an instant trash.
and if you waste a chapter showing Luffy riding a dragon to Kaido, I'm be hot. Like you can use that to just have these fights wrap the fuck up. Remember how lit it was when Zoro and Sanji fought them CP9 niggas. Just remember how lit that was, and he let that shit breathe. They came into the room. Jabra was the first nigga up. He tried that shit. That nigga got flamed, kicked in the chest. Then they had Kaku and Kaku and Jabra were still there. Then they had that fight, and they just let that shit breathe. I need that for this. I just need that, especially with all the shit they was talking in those first 5 chapters just made me hot when they flipped, bro. Fucking Marco was like, hey, here's all these story points you didn't know of giants above the red. I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, what's going on? And then they're like, switch to Zoro. They like, oh, did you know Ryuma? And I was just like, oh, so now you're connecting the dots between the swords and the and he looks just like this other nigga. Hey, and what's this? Ryuma was a wonder. I said, oh, damn, all right, I'm interested. Oh, do you thought we was going to leave Sanji out? No, my nigga might be a cyborg or from the moon. Or how the fuck are you spawning fire? I was wondering why he was spawning fire from his legs this whole time. I thought it was a hockey thing. No, nigga, that's some other shit. Okay, cool. Boom, flip to dog and cat.
Out of nowhere.
What?
Yeah, they said, yeah, we're going to build this hype for you and then just drop you right there.
I'm telling you, wow. Anyways, anything else on One Piece?
Honestly, I don't even care about this Luffy shit right now. They can stop doing this Luffy shit at the end of every chapter. I just want to see Zoro and Sanji do work.
I was just like, okay, it's cool. I saw Dragon Momonosuke, great.
Yeah.
But honestly, like you said, that all could have been like, hey, while all this shit was going on, so let's skip back 5 minutes to explain how Luffy got to the island. Like, you could have just done that in a chapter. But it is what it is, bro. All the like playing around with niggas. That's what I got.
He's juggling too much shit around, man. So he knows that people are going to get mad if they don't include this or include that.
Someone made a TikTok about the Don Flamingo arc, like that arc. That shit happened in, I believe, 3 days or something, or sometime less than 3 days. That whole shit. That whole arc.
You saying that the whole arc was in the span of 3 days?
That time frame of like tournament beating Don Flamingo, that shit was like a couple of days. And we spent a year plus on that, bro. Like I'm like, when this shit is over, we're probably gonna find out this Wano shit was like a week or something, and that was it, or whatever time frame. Some small ass time frame you spending all these fucking years on. I'm like, I get it, Oda. You can write yourself an expeditious story, bro. You could put a lot of details in that motherfucker, but damn, bro. That's a lot, bro. A year for 2 days?
Yep.
How much shit is going on, bro? A year for 2 days, bro.
Hey, man, he got to get the bag, bro.
But I'm just saying, think about all the little side stories that was happening in them 2 days. The fucking puppet dude. They freed a whole race of puppet niggas in 2 days. Like, what? And the way they hyped it up is like, oh, this is years of trauma this city was going through. 2 days. This shit is wiped off. No wonder why they put that hype on Luffy.
That's why he the Pirate King, bro.
I'm telling you, don't wonder why they put that hype on it in 2 days. Crazy. But yeah, anything else on One Piece? Any other theories you got, or you want to toss out there?
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I didn't care about the whole Zoro lineage.
Oh, really?
I just wanted the nigga to be full. I mean, I don't give a damn who he's related to. That nigga could be related to Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
As long as a nigga out there doing work and getting swole, that's what matters.
That's interesting.
And I would just like for him to get those damn swole ass swords.
Yeah, I mean they've been tying them to Wano, right? I think that was the thing. Like, my question is just like, I don't know when we're gonna get his this might be the arc for him, for his flashback, because we've already gotten it for everyone else. Yeah. Every other crewmate has gotten their, I mean, and yeah, Luffy too, because Luffy was after Ace died. Like, Sanji just got his. Robin's was the whole, thing. So yeah, this might be the arc for what the fuck was Zoro doing? Like I guess you could argue that maybe that was a flashback with the whole why the girl died way in the beginning. But like, did we get anything before that? I don't know. Does he know where the fuck he comes from?
Nah, the nigga just appeared out of nowhere from what I know.
Yeah, so I don't know. This might be his arc to figure it out.
That was actually one theory that the nigga was actually poofed all the way into the future by Toki. And that Zoro was actually Ryuma's direct son.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Now, if that was true, I'd be like, okay, that's lit.
But then he would have been triggered though, because then he fight Ryuma in the whole Brook thing. When they got Brook.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if he seen that nigga, they would have done something. Maybe he wouldn't have been like, "Oh, you're my son," but he definitely would have been like, "My son had fucking green hair." Like, you know what I mean? Like that's a pretty obvious. He should have said something. So I don't know that theory I'd be a little iffy on, because I would like he would have been triggered in some way by seeing a nigga with green hair. Like, hey, you look familiar. Oh, got it. But it did say he looked exactly like the other nigga, so that's why I was like, oh, maybe this a father or a ancestor or something. But
yeah.
But
that's all I got.
All right. Well, let's wrap it up with some Dr. Stone. I don't remember what the chapter was. 2 something. I believe
208.
Yeah. Okay. So we got a calculator, which I guess you can sort of a computer as well. So.
Yo, I got a quick question. Why is every single person that these niggas revive, like every single, like I'll just say sad nigga, why are they always swole as hell? I don't understand what the heck is going on. Like literally,
they in there, bro.
Where are the fat people on this planet? Like, are they just passing up every single person that's fat and be like, okay, this nigga swole as hell, revive him. This
I'm gonna blame it on the serum. I'm gonna blame it on the serum. I mean, it basically has made them immortal. So who else knows whatever the fuck it does, bro? The Medusa probably making these niggas swole. But it's the way Bocchi draws stuff, bro. If you read like Sunken Rock, his other series that most people know him for, it's the same thing. Everybody in that motherfucker is swole. Like all it is a guy who's apparently weak as shit, but like a gangster running around bodying niggas, and it's the most interesting shit I've ever read. One of the most interesting shits I've ever read, just because of the artwork. That all that shit you see in Dr. Stone, just imagine that beautiful artwork, and you've seen a couple of fights with like Tsukasa or whatever. Yeah, imagine that as an entire manga. That's Sunken Rock. Niggas beating each other with bats, motherfuckers just going crazy shooting guns. Like that's Bocchi for you.
Are they on some Yakuza type shit? Because Yakuza looks pretty damn good for a damn video game.
Yeah, in a way. So like they're not he creates his own gang, but yeah, it's the same thing. Like they end up just going up against other gangs in the city for different shit, and he's like I guess you could say he's kind of like a Luffy type of character in a way. Like he's not notable in any particular skill set, but that nigga, like when he shows up, he finds a way to win somehow, some way. He doesn't have a particular superpower besides heart. That's it. He runs up with the heart and he wins every time, bro. Beating niggas with bats, taking stab wounds.
That sounds like that friendship bullshit, man.
If that shit got an anime, bro, oh my god. I'm telling you. Niggas who are hype on Tokyo Revengers don't know nothing if Sunken Rock got an anime. I'm telling you.
Mm-hmm.
But that's I think one of the major reasons why Dr. Stone is so popular is that artwork. That guy just knows how to draw.
Really? I thought it was because of that nigga is throwing in all of this crazy science shit, and it's like
I feel like the science shit is like what makes it interesting, but imagine that science shit with shitty artwork. You're just not gonna be as invested. I think. I mean, the science shit is cool, but I mean, there's like what cells at work, which is another thing about like the body and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. How many people are interested in that shit?
I ain't gonna lie, I stopped watching after probably like the first season.
See,
like, okay,
and it's the same type of teaching shit, bro. That artwork hit different when Tsukasa choked that lion out. Come on, bro. Come on.
You're right.
It's something else, but yeah, no, I like how. To me, this is like an isekai in a way. Like, what I like about isekais is that, like, giant team building. I just love that from series for some reason. And to me, Dr. Stone is, like, taking that to the next level. Like, the fusion with this evil doctor, because we haven't got time to really like unpack all the stuff that's happened because we never talk about Dr. Stone. But like the team up with this evil doctor, the watchmaking nigga, like all these people that have kind of shown up, the explorer chick, now they're going global. Like I really like how they're building like these key power systems in different areas, and I enjoy. This is one of the very few series where I enjoy like when they spend time on the side characters. Like it's cool to see Senku, but I like the jokes. I like the fucking Dragos backstory that they keep building. Now these motherfuckers got a bank at the end. Like they still like season it. It's like, no, don't forget, we still got money, bro. This nigga Ryuji or whatever his name is about to be a rich ass motherfucker when society comes back.
That nigga stay about his bag, bro.
He's Jeff Bezos, bro. That nigga is getting money. He's getting money, bro. It's crazy.
That's crazy how some people could be like, I don't care what fucking time period we in. I'm gonna get my way to the top.
Right?
One way or another.
Crazy, man.
But yeah, I always definitely enjoy reading this manga, especially for a lot of the niggas that are still sleeping on it, probably intimidated by all of the smart shit that they talk about.
Yep.
Hey man, try it out.
That magma thing was dope too. I thought that shit was funny as hell.
What are you talking about, the with him using the calculator to?
Yeah. Because I just like how shocked. I loved how shocked the stone people are at different technology, but particularly Magma, because Magma still thinks that these niggas are witches. Like to this day, he's still like, yo, these niggas using some type of sorcery to do this shit. And I just find it funny whenever they be like letting him get involved in shit. It'd just be hilarious.
Yeah.
Dumb as a rock, though.
Yo, so did you have you gotten a better understanding of your computer science shit that you had no complete 100% no understanding of when you looked at it in college?
I would say it got closer. Like the zeros and ones thing made sense. Like that was part I kind of grasped, but like I mean I felt like I understood how they kind of made it work. The thing that always made it difficult for me to go from that to the next level of computer science is where I'm waiting for them to bridge that gap. So they've kind of made it work for math. I get how you can use binary to solve math equations. The next part is how do you go from binary to graphics? Like how do you get a monitor to work with zeros and ones? How you get code? Like how you now turn that into instructions just from taking a calculator, like, oh, I can compute mathematical equations. How do you take that to like, now I can create apps or I can do all this other stuff. Like I'm interested on how they're going to use it in the actual, all the aspects of taking something to space. I'm not getting that yet. I get they can do a lot of mathematical formulas. That part I get it now. But I think there's other aspects that technology and computers are used for that I don't know how they're going to bridge that gap yet. And I never got that in school either. So I'm interested to see how he sells that part, especially in this stone world. It's still archaic. It's still like real archaic, and it's hard for me to see like a stone world computer.
I still don't understand this shit. I'm like, okay, the nigga got magnets and shit just shifting back and forth, up and down.
I mean, the key is just zeros and ones. Like, that's it. And then you basically, if you have enough zeros and ones, you can do math, right? Like, they kind of showed it with the flags, but it's like, okay, if you have a bunch of those, the more complex equations you can do. So I get how they're going to use that to kind of do some of the basic maths that you need to get stuff off the ground, like, oh, how much thrust do we need, and all the equations that go on in sending something to space and the trajectory shit. It's just all of that other stuff, like the monitoring, the radar, like all the things that I'm sure are in a spaceship that still require computers, but like a different, it's not mathematical equations anymore. I don't know how they're going to bridge that gap. That shit is going to be crazy to me, but hey, man, the author clearly knows some stuff or is doing a lot of Googling before these shows.
He got to have a thick-ass team, a whole fat-ass team of just engineers, historians, and all these other people that just
Yeah.
find all this shit to actually confirm everything that he wants to add.
I'm telling you, yeah, he's got to
one
have like
person-
interviews.
Because I was gonna say, for one person to be knowing all of this shit
Crazy.
and then drawing it out with all that detail,
Yeah,
man,
I think he's probably interviewing like the masters of these different areas and just like asking them the question like, hey, if we were in a stone world, right? Like, and none of the stuff was there, how would you build a gun from scratch, or how would you
Right.
build like a computer from scratch? And then I think he's using that and kind of finding a way to sell it in a nice term, because I don't know enough of the logistics on all this stuff to be like, okay, he's right. But I mean, Player 5 has confirmed some of that stuff. Like, yeah, that sounds about right. So, yeah, he seems to be on the money with some of these ideas. Like I said, I think we talked about this before too. And now he's starting to build it out. But it's the manufacturing piece to me that was always kind of missing. Like being able to mass produce a lot of this stuff.
yeah. I'm just mad that years aren't going by where they're making all of this crazy shit though.
Oh yeah.
Because I can understand knowing, yeah, you can know how to make a lot of this shit, but like we still have construction that takes
Yeah.
a year plus to build some of these structures that they have. These
Yeah.
niggas are doing it with their hands.
Yeah, like that bow was insane to me. Like I still be looking at that ship like it still feels a little fast how you built that motherfucker. And now y'all talking about building a whole spaceship. Like
and they have yet to age at all. Boy, stop. Like they doing all of this in one day or something.
hey bro. Well then now they got the trick now. Now they got the immortality for real, bro. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. Turn themselves to stone and then unturn themselves into stone and you're refreshed. Like
yeah, but you're just refreshed. That doesn't mean that you're still the same age that you were years ago.
I mean, it looks like it. I don't know how they're gonna work with the old homie, like to protect his stuff. But I guess they're just gonna make sure like they do it on his birthday every year.
Damn.
I guess that might be the way to do it. Like every time it's close to your birthday, like turn you into stone and then turn you back. So I guess you're still kind of maintaining that age. I'm not sure how the trick is gonna work there. That. They were very vague about it. They're just like, we're immortals now. And I'm like, big question mark on it. Really, though. Okay.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, if you're not reading Dr. Stone yet, like Graham said, man, get on it. It's an interesting, at least watch. Like,
Yeah.
to me, I don't really find any loss between watching the anime and manga. This is one that's very down the middle. Like, if you watch the anime only, it's fine. If you read the manga, you're not missing much, right? Like the anime doesn't outperform the manga that much either. So either way, it's good. I'm enjoying the fuck out of it.
Same here.
Yeah. But I think that's it for manga. Unless there's anything else you want to call out.
No, that's it.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all for joining us for another live stream. We may or may not be here next Sunday. I know I won't because I'm traveling, but yeah, we'll catch y'all the next time we pop up on a live. And look out for, new episode of the podcast. I believe I'm going to drop it tomorrow, so check that out. Check out some more clips from us. That's it. Peace.
Peace.